Yeah, well, it's recording now,
Yeah,
so
I'm recording as well, so
I'm good.
Who wants to start? I don't know.
do you want to give it a go?
Ben's more friendly.
That
Yeah,
is true.
I can give it a go. I don't mind. I'm more friendly, so I'm just gonna
More
start. Maybe I should start by just screaming at people and victimizing our audience.
Yeah, I don't know how to start these things in a friendly,
I've been away for
approachable
too
manner.
long, damn it! Hello, welcome back to Real Opinions. Today we will be reviewing Lights Out through Google Hangout. This is a strange way of reviewing. I've never done this before. It's interesting.
I hope it goes well.
Yeah, we do.
Already, I've got crossover. Already, I'm confused. This whole review is just going to be us laughing at each other and misunderstanding what each other have said.
To be honest, that's more
Or
enjoyable
not laughing
than the
because there's an
film,
awkward
but-
pause.
Right, who wants to do a little plot summary? One of you.
Um,
Harrison, you're usually good at plot summaries. Give it a go.
I'll do my best, but to be honest, I forgot everyone's names.
It doesn't matter about names. Just give it a go.
So Lights Out is about a family who are haunted by a spirit that can only move in the darkness and that disappears in the light. And the family's mother is supposedly a little bit crazy.
Little bit.
So there's a fractured dynamic between the family where the sort of teenagey young, I don't know how old she is, the elder daughter has distanced herself from the family and moved away. But when she finds out that her little brother is frightened of this thing that she used to see when she was a kid, she kind of gets back involved with the family, and there's a mystery about what the ghost is and why it's attacking, and horror happens.
As it usually does in a horror film.
That's what it says on the blurb. Horror happens.
I honestly, this is one of the first reviews actually we've done where I don't know your guys' reactions beforehand.
That's
I
true.
know,
We
no,
haven't spoken about it. So
it's exciting, and it's also
is
making me
exciting.
reserved. What did you think? What did you think? I don't know.
Right. To be honest, I think I've got a precursor this. With the... I heard really good things about this going in, all the reviews were 4 stars. It's actually a pretty good new horror film, etc, etc. So I don't know, my expectations were a little bit higher than I thought they would be when I first saw the trailer.
Okay.
But I was a little bit disappointed.
A little bit?
Okay, quite a bit disappointed. I was quite bored. I genuinely expected something a bit more creative, and the concept, the idea behind the creature that can only move in the dark, etc. It's a really cool idea, but it gets worn out within the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
And the whole backstory behind it was really shitty and terrible. So I was kind of just sat there this is kind of boring. The characters were pretty good. I liked them more than I do in most horror films, but I think that was the problem. The concept just got too worn out, and the whole backstory behind it just didn't excite me. I don't know about you guys.
I agree with half of that.
Yeah, I was about
Right.
to say the exact same thing. I feel like, if anything, the thing that
But
impressed
I
me
think
most
I agree
about-
with the different half.
I think the
than
thing that
Jack.
impressed me most about this film was that they used everything that they could with the concept. I don't think they used everything brilliantly, but they definitely did. I mean, it could have been so easy to just kind of say, right, so there's this person with this power. What are we going to do? Okay, so the person walks around in the dark with torches the whole time. That would be fine.
Yeah,
It
they
would be
did
useful.
cool things. There's a bit where a policeman is shooting a gun, and it moves each
Yeah, that
time there's a
bit's
flash.
cool,
And that
yeah.
was that was cool. And there's the bit with the neon sign, and that was because that's a light flashing that you can't control, and that made it a little bit different.
The neon sign
I
bothered
thought they
me.
did. Okay.
Just
Well,
just because it's going to be the petty Jack point again, because the first time it's off for way longer than any other time to build tension, and I hate that.
Okay.
It's not consistent. It's not consistent.
Are neon signs
At least have a
always-
uniform time, damn it.
Exactly. How
are
else are they
they?
supposed to sell those tattoos if it's not on?
I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was like the best horror film that I've seen in ages, but I thought it was the best horror film I've seen in 2016, which isn't saying much. But it was better than
I'm trying to think of the other
Friend Request.
come out this year,
It was a better film than Friend Request. That's a recommendation. I thought it had moments that were genuinely creepy, and I thought that yes, it is very jump scare heavy, but at least they were jump scares that were motivated by a monster and not just banging or cats or
True, yeah.
friends being douchebags. At least it was a monster going bah.
They were motivated, but they were so much of it was based just around noise.
Yeah.
Like, it was just literally the monster jumping at a glass door or something, and then it'd be like, Rah!
Yeah.
And the only thing that made me jump was the noise rather than the actual thing itself.
Yeah. There were bits though where it wasn't jump scares, and I was still vaguely creeped out. Like there's the bit where it was just sat on the floor scratching, and I thought, oh, that's a little bit creepy. Which is more than I can.
Yeah, I think the monster itself they did that really well because of the nails.
It's more than I can say for a lot of these like modern ghost films that are literally just jump scares. There were genuinely bits where I was like, oh, that's actually just a creepy image as well as something that was a little bit startling. One thing I really was disappointed by was when it started speaking. Like, it was creepy. And all the way through, I thought it was a really creepy kind of looking thing, and it was ominous in the shadows. And as soon as it started to speak, I was like, A, the mystery's partly gone, and B, it had a really crap, scary voice. And I don't know how you... Like, there's so many things you can do with creepy voices that are very easily creepy, and they just went with something that was a bit like... You can't leave. It sounded so stupid. It sounded like a joke. Like it was the director off camera just doing the substitute voice before they did something in the audio. Like it didn't feel like the finished version of the creepy voice. But I thought it was a creepy-ish ghost. I thought it was creepy at times, and I thought that, like you said, they did various clever things with the lights. I also liked that the characters weren't stupid.
Oh, I thought the characters
I think that's why I like the characters. They weren't as stupid as they normally are. In these horror movies, you usually get really stupid ones. Like when the boyfriend runs away and you genuinely think, oh, he's never coming back, because in most horror movies, he just never would come back. Except
he does that thing with the car keys that was genuinely clever, and I went like, oh, that's
exactly.
I like that.
And again, that's another interesting use of the light. I mean, sure, it is just another torch or headlight, but they're thinking of where do lights come into these things, and I thought that was good.
Exactly,
like, little bits.
All of the light play was good, but I think that's the thing. The thing I keep coming back to is the fact that they based most of the movie around the fact that this monster is semi-spoiler alert, even though it's really in the trailers. The monster is basically just their mum's imaginary friend, and that felt like it kind of took away some of the threat.
The more backstory it gave, the worse it got.
Yeah,
my favorite part of the film was the beginning part, and it's a problem with literally anything like this. Though, I mean, Michael Myers. The more you learn about Michael Myers, the less scary he gets. Yeah, the more that I found out about it, the less scared I was by it, because it was genuinely creepy when the first time they turn the lights off, and it's just this thing stood there. And I know they have to give it some explanation, and they have to give it some kind of origin, but just a bit less. And
just the one they gave as well, I wish it had been slightly better.
I thought it was quite funny that the daughter just gets into the house, and the first thing she finds is like a BioShock tape recorder of the experiments. Like,
it was genuinely exposition box.
She finds that box filled with all the things she needs.
That was really stupid. I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad that you agree. That was just a box that might as well have just had exposition written on the side of it. It's like, oh, good. And then they explained it twice, which I thought was weird. Like, she does it, and then she goes, little kid, by the way, I'm going to tell you it all, just in case someone went to the toilet when I did it the first time. It was really weird.
I just found it funny that the idea is that this little girl went to a mental hospital and her friend died, so they gave her all the records as like a parting gift.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was wondering where because they said that her husband, I forgot which one. I think the second husband did research into it and investigated it. But I wasn't. Okay. But I don't know where he found things. I don't know where he got anything from. He just did. He just did an investigation, and they gave him these tapes, I guess.
It's so like, have you guys seen the short film that it's based on?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the face from the end of the short film?
Yeah.
That really ridiculous, like, Halloween mask face. I kept waiting for that to show up the whole film.
It was kind of like, it's a crap face in the short film.
Yeah.
But it's kind of creepier because it's so crummy.
Exactly. I thought they would go for that kind of like semi-creepy, kind of funny kind of tone.
Yeah.
But they just went kind of straight up Insidious style, unmarvelous, unmiraculous haunted house style.
I will say I like this film more than I like Insidious.
Really?
I thought it was a better film than Insidious, especially since I've watched Insidious a few times now. And every time I watch it, I realise it's actually kind of crummier than I remember.
I get like that the same with every time I watch Insidious, I like it less. But at least Insidious was, I don't know, a bit kind of different. It had a few different things going for it. This just feels so generic. But this is the light. And boring. Yeah, it's a cool concept, but beyond that, there's nothing really there. It's just the same as every other horror movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's loud noises and...
I think it's sort of the same, but the thing that distinguishes it is that it's better. Like, it's better than most.
Yeah, on a technical level, it is better.
It's better, and it's got better characters, and a lot of the writing is better, not all of it. I just think it was that rather than necessarily having like a totally different style or tone, it was what made it different was just that it was competent.
Yeah.
Unlike, Annabelle or whatever.
I felt like,
now you're comparing it to Annabelle.
I felt like I could tell that it was someone that just came from a YouTube skit, though. Like, skits, this is the wrong word. But I feel like I could tell that it was someone that had come from just internet video, because it didn't feel, like, at times it did feel very, just the same controlled way that you get with most of these YouTube shorts and stuff like that. But that wasn't bad, as in, I was impressed that this person went from making a 3-minute short to this so well.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because people like James Wan produced it.
Yeah.
And they had this big kind of, like, horror factory behind it.
They couldn't let
where
him
they could
fail.
basically be like, yeah, you've got this really cool concept, now let us change it into everything we've made over the last 10 years. It's basically it's almost turning into this kind of industry production line technique to doing things, where they're all slightly different. The characters have different names, and the stories and concepts behind them are different. But
that is what makes films different.
But they all, but they all follow the exact same beats. Like, if you put this
I know what you mean.
Next to some of the others that have come out recently, they are very similar.
The one thing I would say though is that at least this one felt like it got straight into it.
Yeah,
because like you said,
I really liked the prologue.
That's true.
So many of these films are the same, you're right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so many of them make us wait like 50 minutes for anything to happen, and seeing as we know that it's going to all be the same, that's just really annoying. So at least this just went like, Ghost, it's here, it's attacking people, and then just did it. And I never sort of felt like... There wasn't like a moment where I was going, it's been a long time since a scary bit happened, which I do with most.
Yeah.
It was short and to the point, and it never did like the whole, maybe it's electrical interference, there's a rational explanation for this obviously supernatural event thing. It just went like, Ghost, done. Because I hate that part in Ghost movies. I really hate the 20 minutes, or no, usually like 30 minutes of just like, it's all in your head. There's a rational explanation for why the fucking chairs are flying around the room.
That's true.
It was just like, there's Ghost, everyone's seen the Ghost, now the Ghost is going to do things.
I didn't find the characters remarkably like intelligent or anything like that, and I did find them a bit dumb, but I have to admit that they did that well, in that I do get annoyed when it's just like so much doubt in the beginning of the film that just slows it and bogs it down. They feel like it adds suspense, but really it just clogs it all up. And you're right, it
doesn't add suspense. It's just boring when they do that.
I was never bored with this film, even when I was
me neither.
Even when I was laughing at it, I was never like bored with it. I was never just thinking like this bit's bad and boring. It was just kind of like, it was either this bit's quite interesting or this bit's stupid, for me anyway.
I wouldn't say I got kind of, I mean, I would say I was a little bit bored at times, but that wasn't because I thought it was badly made. I just thought it was because I knew what was going to happen, because I've seen too many of these. It might just be because I have seen too many of them, And
yeah, no, I
do
definitely
go
think
and end up seeing almost every horror film.
I do. I agree that it is very much in that cycle that I'm very, very sick of. But I hate most of them. Like I
And
don't
this
even
one's
like The Conjuring.
this one's at the top end of those ones.
Yeah. Like I would say like if you
I'd say it's the top of the teen trash.
I would say like if you're the type of person that likes Insidious or The Conjuring or Annabelle or whatever, then you will
anything James Wan has
like
touched.
this. Yeah, I think this one will be like right up your alley because it delivers on everything that you expect, and at least it doesn't do many fake out scares, which is oddly becoming a positive now. Like it didn't annoy the hell out of me. 10 out of 10.
That is true. Yeah, it does feel like I'm
that's
thinking of it
starting
more.
to scare me.
I'm thinking of it more positively now because of the things that it didn't do, though. Not because
Yeah.
That's what It didn't do that stupid long build-up where no one believes anyone. It didn't do fake jump scares. 4 stars.
I'm trying to remember all the bits that made me laugh now because there were a lot of things that made me just. I thought the prologue in the very beginning was quite funny when I don't know, was the woman the same actress from the short film? Because I feel like I remember her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite funny when she goes to the light switch for the first time and she turns it off and on again, and off and on, and it was like 4 different times.
I thought it was a little bit funny, but I think it was sort of meant to be. I kind of felt like they kind of thought
it was like a nod to the whole idea of it. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is the only time they're really going to do this.
Okay, right, okay. I've really remembered.
It's the easy scare.
Got me to. I thought it bothered me how inconsistent the monster was, like with the light. Does that mean?
Yeah, they did break a few of their own rules at times.
So I don't know whether or not. So is it like when they turn on the light, she can like teleport or disappear or something like that? Because she was like in the closet and they turned on the light and she just poof gone. But then in another scene when they start shining the light on her, she starts to burn up. So if she's trapped in a room with light,
well, that was because
She was trapped
the UV light,
in the black light.
The UV light, the black light kind of traps her because it's not like proper light. So she shows up in it, and then they can use the proper light.
Oh, okay, that is actually okay. She disappears. An explanation that I'll accept.
Yeah, so she disappears in normal light, but when the UV light's there, it's kind of like grounding her a little, so that you can then hurt her with the other light. At least that's kind of what I understood from it, because they did say like we can see her with this, but she doesn't go away.
No, I don't think that was clear in the film, but your interpretation of it doesn't make sense, I think, even though that wasn't very clear. But and there were other little moments where
I did think it was funny that the dude at the beginning worked in the creepiest mannequin factory.
Yeah, I was wondering, because it just gives it an excuse to them to have loads of mannequins in their basement as well, just so they could do that one scare later on.
I did like there was one bit. There was one bit that I genuinely really like properly thought was great, and that was like all the way through the film, because you know when these things are really loud and jump scary, I can't help but kind of like do that and kind of scrunch up in anticipation of a big loud noise. And so every time the camera would like track up, I'd see something, it would be the mannequin, and I go, oh, okay, it was not that. But there was a bit where the kid's leaving his room and there's like a shape in the background. And at first I was like, that's the ghost. But then the scene went on for ages and the kid left the room. And I thought, oh, it is just a shape. I'm being stupid. And then it was the ghost. And I thought it was really well done. It's like he's got the candle and he's leaving the room and he walks out into the corridor.
I know, yeah.
And I thought, oh, that was quite good. It was quite like restrained.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Properly in the background of the
there's little
shot.
glimpses of really, really good moments like that. And I think I just wanted a whole film of them, but I feel like that's probably too much to ask when it comes to like mainstream blockbustery horror movies like this, that they want to make hundreds of millions of dollars.
I feel like I didn't like this one, but at the same time I feel like I could like, if the director kept on making films, I feel like I could like his stuff. Or whoever is behind this as well. Like, I mean,
I didn't like the kid.
I thought it was quite funny in that I feel like they just went into the casting agency and they said, right, we need an adorable looking kid. Everyone loves Jurassic Park. Let's get the kid from Jurassic Park again. So it looks exactly like the boy from Jurassic Park. exactly.
The one, the kid from Everything, the one from Insidious, is the one in Jurassic World is the one.
No,
from
not
Insidious.
Jurassic World. Not Jurassic World. I mean Jurassic Park, as in.
You mean the original? The
Who
original.
grew up to be in Social Network. I think they look exactly the same.
Oh, okay. I just thought he did that. He did that thing where he kind of talked like an adult, and it was really weird. Like he would say things to like his mother, like we sometimes we have to face our fears, mother, or like we can't leave her, she's our mother, and we have to. And he was like, he's not a kid. He's like, who talks like that? He should be shitting himself.
Sounds like someone's using. Maybe the ghost was like possessing him the entire time. Maybe it was like one of those really subversive horror movies where the thing we thought was scary wasn't the thing that we were supposed to be finding scary the whole time.
That he kept bringing up the sister's betrayal, even though he wasn't even born at that point.
It was almost like his like really subtle way of getting her to do whatever he wanted. Yeah. Like if they were just like, oh, buy me this, and she'd go no, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess you're just gonna leave again.
Just like you always do. She was unnecessarily mean to her own boyfriend as well. Like, I could understand if they were only going out for a few months. They had been going out for 8 months.
8 months,
and she wouldn't let him stay in her apartment or call her
his girlfriend.
From the way
she said it, she said
or
that they
even
were
keep
never
a
official.
sock in her place.
They were never official.
But
she did sort of, she was jokey about it though. It wasn't like she was like, fuck off, get out of my house. She might as well have
been.
Playfully, like, threw the sock at him out the window. She was joking. She didn't mean
he does all that stuff for her, and at no point in it does she thank him.
At the end.
Yes, she does. Yeah. She says, you can have the drawer. You can have a drawer.
But that's a really, like...
I thought it was going to set up for, in that first scene, I swear it was going to set it up for, like, so he says, can I leave the sock? And she goes, no, and he just leaves. And then they go through the whole film and he dies and she comes back and finds, like, the single sock in the drawer. And that's, like, the sad moment. Like,
why was I such a bitch to him?
Yeah, I caused this. I thought it was going to be, like, a big... I'm glad that they didn't do that because it's crap. But at the same time, what they also did was crap. So it's just level amounts, really.
Does anyone actually die in this film, come to think of it?
The guy the police.
The police officer.
Oh, and the policeman. I forgot about the policeman.
I liked that. I did like when the police showed up because I was thinking I want more people to die, and then they showed up, and I genuinely, as soon as they showed up, I was like, oh, good, fodder. I need some. I need some
innocent
kills.
souls to be reaped.
I need kills. I don't mind.
It was fine. It was
just the stock police deaths. Because, like I said, it just bumps up the kill count, and that's something I enjoy.
That's true. And they
had absolutely no idea what was going on. I was like, hang on a minute, what are they doing? They should listen to her. And it suddenly dawned on me, I was like, these two police officers run into this home where they think some crazy lady's holding her family hostage or whatever. They're not going to start listening to some girl babbling on about some monster that hides in the dark.
Yeah, Ben, Jesus.
And I liked it because they were actually...
Would you, if you were a policeman, like, believe every rambling nonsense? Like,
what's that? A monster that hides in the dark?
She says there's aliens.
What's that? There's a leprechaun in the basement?
I thought it was good that they made them actually helpful, though, as well. Like, they weren't just people that just showed up for fodder. Yeah. And then with the gun thing, it was actually interesting. And then it actually led to stuff happening later in the conclusion. Yeah, so they actually brought something into it as opposed to just being fodder or distraction or something like that, like you said. Just fodder. But yeah. I'm growing to like it more that I talk about it, but I feel like if I saw it again, I'd knock the points back off that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's not the sort of film I really want to watch again. I couldn't imagine myself watching this again.
I could. Not you, I mean me.
I think it's done well enough that it'll warrant a sequel, but I can't think of anything else that they'll do with it. Like, anything better that they can do with it.
I'm interested to see how they would stretch the concept, because it is a really good concept, but I just hope they do something better with it. Make it a bit bigger, make it a bit more...
Have one set... you know, the obvious thing is to have one set in, like, one of those places where there's night for a month.
Sweden.
Yeah,
that's
it'd be like
obvious.
30 Days of Night.
Yeah.
But with ghost monsters. To be honest, they'd be better off just having one set in one location over, like, one night. like a power cut in a house and they have to figure out how to defeat it or whatever, rather than going through all this kind of back and forth with the mum and the kid.
Yeah, well, that's always the worst part of ghost movies, are the daytime sequences where you know nothing's going to happen. Even the great ones. Even the ones that are good, you kind of know, like, this is boring time now until next scare time.
I was saying, like, you've got to allow some daytime scenes, because, I mean, like, it can't just all be scary. I mean, like, you've got to have pauses.
Do you think?
But, I mean, it doesn't have to all be scary, but you could have just lingering dread the whole...
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I think you can definitely... Well, I mean, like, The Descent is, like, entirely set in the area of danger, isn't it? And it works.
It's the same with something like The Thing as well. That's entirely set in...
Yeah, but you don't... It's not like the monsters hanging around 24/7. Like, it wouldn't just be a relentless succession of ghost scenes. But just the fact that it could be there, whereas in
lingering dread.
Whereas in this, as soon as it's a daytime scene, you're kind of like, well, now it's the safe time. Which is fine.
The safe time.
Like it just flashes up on screen. Like safe time.
That was the other thing, actually, thinking about it. Their house was like abnormally large and abnormally dark inside.
They always
Even in the daytimes. They found a way to make it really, really dark.
Like every horror film has a weirdly large house.
I know. I was like, hang on a minute. This guy worked in a mannequin factory. How is he going to be able to afford this gigantic house?
Literally, I can't remember. There was one I watched recently where I was genuinely like, this house is fucking ginormous. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I think it might have been. It was the Last House on the Left remake. Like the rooms are fucking huge. It's like they're stretching out for eternity. It's weird. You'd think if you were doing a horror film, you'd want it to be kind of claustrophobic, not massive.
Well, you see, in Insidious, the house is actually sensibly sized.
Why don't you go marry Insidious?
I feel like I'm pretending to like it more than I do. I'm not a huge Insidious fan. In fact, the house is pretty huge in Poltergeist as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why they do it. It's very odd.
Americans have a problem with size. Let's just leave
it. You're drilling into the psyche of the film now.
Small penises, big houses in horror movies. It's a conspiracy. That's going to be the one soundbite of this whole video.
That's just the review.
It's not going to be a review of Lights Out. It's going to be, we reveal that Americans have small penises.
Reveal. Not reveal.
Everyone knew this all along.
I brought him in.
They just chose to ignore it.
Do we want to do scores? I haven't done scores in
Does
ages.
anyone have anything else to say about the film, or should we do ratings?
Oh.
I didn't hear anything anyone said.
Should we do ratings?
That wasn't a criticism of the film. That was just now. I realised you were like, does anyone have anything to say? I didn't hear anything anyone said.
And just cut it down to that one soundbite of you going, I didn't hear anything anyone said. 0. Right, should we do ratings?
Yeah, sure.
Harrison, do you want to start?
7. I said 7. Sorry, did you? I didn't know if you heard me. 7. 7.
Oh my god, this could just gone overload of 7s in my ears.
Jack, what would you rate it?
I feel like my internet is going really bad because I just heard that all the 7s.
Yeah, that just cut really randomly.
Right.
It just went dead for like a solid...
Is it me now? Is that what
It's you now.
It's you.
4.
A 4?
Yeah. I really did find them stupid, and I was just... And there were parts where I really had, I thought this could be better if they continued with some of these ideas, but then the backstory and some of the scares and just the stupidity of a lot of the characters and of the plot, and I couldn't take it seriously at any point, which I'm quite a bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to any horror films. Like, I jumped at Friend Request. I hated that. I hated that it made me jump, but I jumped at it. And this one, I just couldn't get scared at any point because I just found it fun. Like, I found it fun. I did enjoy it, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go, that was great. It was better than a lot of the like the Netflix rubbish that I see pumped out apparently like day after day now. But that doesn't mean that I would ever want to watch this film again. It just felt to me like it was just another one of these, another Blumhouse film that was just with a slightly different. It was just the only thing that really held me to it was the idea, and then it didn't really pull through.
Fair enough. I thought I was going to be mean when I said I want to give it a 5 out of 10.
You forgot Jack.
Yeah, I forgot Jack. Permanently cynical Jack.
I feel like I've been nicer lately as well. This is
yeah, you have. You have been a lot nicer lately.
I don't know if you heard that bit, but when he said down, I just got it like a Daft Punk thing where it went down.
Yeah, I got that
and
as
his
well.
voice.
Is that auto-tune? But yeah, no, I think I'd give it 5 just because as good, as well made as it is, it's still very generic and very bland. Because it's this whole kind of factory line style horror movie. And it might be the best of that style, but it's still that style. And I struggled to get behind it. I struggled to jump. I struggled to be that involved. It was a really cool concept, but I think it's just too bland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I think, even though we all got different scores, I mean, I didn't feel like we particularly disagreed with a lot of stuff, even though we had quite, like, we generally have pretty tight-knit scores.
This wasn't us jumping up and down yelling at each other and calling each other names again.
I think if it was, we wouldn't hear anything anyone was saying. It would be even more
It's impossible to have an
awkward.
argument on Google Hangout.
I don't understand how loads of people do it through these, because it's so laggy. It just ruins every conversation.
They must just make sure everyone has the most crystal clear internet connection ever.
That's true, yeah.
And that no one else ever gets on that Wi-Fi.
It was quite decent when we did it yesterday, but we did it later, so maybe it's also time. Because yesterday it was fairly lag-free. What the hell was that?
I literally just saw your lips moving, and I couldn't hear anything.
That was just like the scratchy noise in the film. Did anyone else think it sounded like someone like eating crisps behind them? Like straight away.
No.
I got really pissed off because I was like, because it was this quiet moment, and I thought it was like the moment where it gets really quiet, and then I was just like, if this guy that won't stop bloody eating crisps behind me.
We should make that film. The horror and everything. It's just people walking around dark houses and a guy eating crisps in the corner.
I did have this one couple sat in front of me, and the girl kept like clinging on to him and going like, yeah, every time anything remotely approaching an event happened. And halfway through the film, he just went, fuck off, Debbie. And that did sort of like...
See, I had
that
one
was funny.
guy. There was one guy just sat on his own about one row in front of me, but like right over
I was
to
sat
the
on
right.
my own.
And I was sat on my own as well, but I think because it was during the day, there was no one else there. And there was just this guy sat on his own. And he didn't react to a single thing in the entire film. And then when it ended, he didn't get up and walk out until after
Maybe he was
left.
dead.
And I genuinely
was like
thought he might
Ringu.
have died or something.
It was like Ringu. He's just, if you actually went over there, you'd see him just sat there like...
Yeah.
I was telling Jack about this a couple of days ago. I had to do a screen check on it and walked in, and then was like, you walk up and down the screen and then you turn around and leave. And as I was walking out, one of the jump scares happened. So I'm like stood in front of everyone, and I'm not even watching the screen, so the loud noise was particularly contextless for me. So I'm just stood looking at everyone and then just go like, yeah, in front of... They thought it was like some kind of like audience participation thing. Like, there's a guy that runs into screenings and lights out and goes ah, and then leaves. That was a really weird thing that I didn't know if it was like a really, really kind of classy thing that the cinema was doing, or just a weird coincidence. But when the lights all came up at the end, every single one of them was flickering. I didn't know. Like, I've never noticed it before. But I was like, is this a real like? Have you really
4D experience?
Yeah, like they went all out for this.
Okay, I've just realised what they need to do the sequel for now, because you said the flickering lights, they need to do it in a rave for the next one.
Actually, I did think it was really weird, now you mention it, because when I was sat there, I thought, like, Naoma might quite like this, she likes ghost films, and I was like, but at the same time, I know that the basis of it is all lights going on and off, and I thought, maybe it'll be good for me to see it first, and, assess the epilepsy-ness of the film. And I was really surprised that they never did like a proper light flickering or strobe light sequence. It is weirdly obvious, but they didn't do it at all, and that was actually quite surprising.
Yeah.
No moment where the lights flickered, really.
They only just flickered off. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. I did really quite like the. I was just thinking that when they all got around with, like, they were preparing to fight the ghost for the first time, and I was just kind of like, why doesn't the ghost just turn off the breaker? Like, that's what I'd do. And then it actually happened, and I was actually kind of like, okay, that's good that they did that, like, because otherwise I would have just been sat there the whole bloody time thinking,
did the ghost know it was a ghost?
I don't know. I feel like it must. I mean, it probably didn't realise it was a ghost, but it must have known it wasn't alive.
I felt for sure that at the end of the film it was going to end with like a cliffhanger saying that the girl, Diane, was in the woman's head at the end. Like, well, we're in spoilers now, we've already finished the review, but like, I swear that she was going to be like, she was going to like look in the mirror for like a final shot and she was in the background or something like that, and like Diana continues.
Yeah, I was surprised that it did just properly end.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe the sequel could be a ghost that only appears in the light. You turn the lights off. A ghost that appears in silence. Appears only when there's silence. So all the characters just have to constantly make noise.
It's about a couple and they have a little mute boy, and the mute boy can't make noise. So he has to carry around a boombox that has to keep playing batteries in it. So if it stops playing, like, Don't Stop the Funk or something like that, he dies.
You didn't specify that there was a ghost, you just a film about a mute boy with a boombox.
It sounds like you could be entry for a horror film or Sundance. Like, it's...
Yeah.